The world in which you live is nothing more than the outpicturing of your imagination and your consciousness. All that you behold, though it appears without, it is within, in your imagination, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow. These words of William Blake express the foundation upon which all manifestation rests. The financial struggles you have experienced, the unpaid bills, the mounting debts, the constant worry about money, these were never the truth of your being. They were merely the shadows cast by states of consciousness you temporarily occupy. But I tell you now, with absolute conviction, that these trials are over when you decree them to be so. The LA operates with mathematical precision. The law that governs your financial reality is as precise as mathematics. It does not punish or reward. It simply responds to the consciousness you offer it. When you truly understand this, you will see that your transition to millionaire status is not dependent on external circumstances, but on an internal shift that you alone can make. What is this shift? It is the assumption of the state of wealth as an already established fact in your life. For what you assume, you become. This is not positive thinking or wishful fantasizing. It is the deliberate occupation of a state that already exists in what we might call the fourth dimensional realm of infinite possibilities. The Bible, properly understood as a psychological document, rather than a historical one, tells us before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. This means that your millionaire state already exists, fully formed, awaiting your entrance into it. Your work is not to create wealth, but to step into the consciousness of already being wealthy. The feeling, I ask the secret. How does one make this transition? Through what I have always emphasized as the most crucial element in manifestation, feeling. Feeling is the secret. It is not enough to affirm wealth or visualize prosperity. You must capture and sustain the feeling of being financially abundant. Close your eyes for a moment and ask yourself, how would I feel if I were already a millionaire? What would my inner conversations be like? How would I carry myself? What thoughts would occupy my mind throughout the day? The answers to these questions reveal the state you must now occupy persistently, for your outer world will reorganize itself to match the inner feeling you maintain. This is not magic, it is law. When I speak of feeling, I do not mean emotional excitement. I refer to the quiet, assured feeling of knowing that you are already wealthy, that financial abundance flows to you naturally and easily, that you have transcended the consciousness of lack permanently, the Sabbath of financial struggle. In Scripture, we are told to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Esoterically understood, the Sabbath represents the end of struggle and the entrance into rest. Your financial Sabbath has arrived. The time to cease your striving and to enter into the rest of knowing that your wealth is established. How many of you continue to labor under the belief that wealth requires endless toil and sacrifice? This is the very consciousness that perpetuates financial struggle. The wealthy do not work for money. They allow money to work for them. This is not laziness. It is alignment with the true nature of abundance. The moment you internally rest from the belief in financial struggle, external circumstances must reorganize themselves to reflect this new state. It is not that action ceases. Rather, your actions flow from a new center of consciousness, one that knows abundance as its natural condition. Revision, rewriting your financial story. Many of you carry memories of past financial failures, disappointments, and limitations. These memories persisted in become the template for your future experiences. But I have taught a technique called revision, which allows you to rewrite your past in consciousness. Tonight, as you retire to sleep, review the financial disappointments of your past. See them differently. Rewrite them in your imagination as you would have preferred them to be. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the joy of having experienced financial abundance instead of lack. For your imagination can penetrate the veil of time and alter not just your future, but your relationship to the past. A revised past creates a new template from which your future grows. As you consistently revise your financial history, you will be amazed at how quickly your present circumstances begin to change. The inner conversation of a millionaire. We are constantly engaged in inner conversation, a silent dialogue with ourselves that reveals our true beliefs and expectations. What is the nature of your inner conversation regarding money? Does it reflect limitation, anxiety, doubt? The millionaire consciousness maintains an entirely different inner dialogue. It speaks of opportunity, abundance, and the natural flow of wealth. It does not concern itself with how money will come. It rests in the certainty that it already has. Begin now to consciously direct your inner conversation. When thoughts of financial worry arise, do not fight them. Simply redirect your attention to the inner dialogue of your millionaire self. This is not denial. It is the deliberate assumption of a state aligned with your desires. The law of assumption. I have always emphasized what I call the law of assumption, which simply states that what you assume to be true will harden into fact in your reality. This law operates without exception in every area of life, including your financial circumstances. If you would be a millionaire, you must assume the consciousness of a millionaire. You must think from wealth, not of wealth. There is a crucial distinction here that you understand. To think of wealth is to place it outside your sight self in the future as something to be attained. To think from wealth is to occupy the state of already being wealthy, viewing the world from that perspective. It is to ask yourself, what would my perception be if I were already financially abundant beyond my wildest dreams? The bridge of incidents. Once you have assumed the state of being a millionaire in consciousness, the external world must arrange what I call a bridge of incidents to bring about the fulfillment of that state. This bridge will consist of events, encounters, ideas, and opportunities that will appear in your life seemingly by chance. But make no mistake, these incidents are not random. They are the natural outworking of the law responding to your new state of consciousness. Your work is not to manipulate these external circumstances, but to maintain the feeling of already being financially abundant. The bridge of incidents may not always make logical sense to your rational mind. People may appear in your life unexpectedly, offering opportunities. Ideas for wealth creation may come to you in dreams or quiet moments. Doors that seem permanently closed may suddenly open. Trust this process. It is the law in operation, moving you toward the full expression of your assumed state. The pruning process. As you transition into your millionaire season, be prepared for what Scripture calls the pruning process. Certain relationships, activities, or circumstances that were compatible with your previous state of financial limitation may fall away as you assume your new state of abundance. This pruning is not a punishment. It is a natural realignment that makes space for the full flowering of your new state. Some people in your life may not be comfortable with your transformation. Some habits that perpetuated financial struggle must naturally dissolve. Trust this process of letting go, knowing that it serves the greater unfolding of your prosperity. The Bible says, every branch in me that beareth not fruit he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit he purgeth, that it may bring forth more fruit. This is the divine economy at work, removing what no longer serves your highest expression and enhancing what does. You are already the person you seek to be. Perhaps the most radical truth I can share with you tonight is this: you are already the millionaire you seek to become. There is no process of becoming, only the recognition and assumption of what already is. Time exists only in the mind of man. In the deeper reality, all states exist simultaneously. The state of financial abundance is not something to be created. It is to be selected and occupied. You select it by attention and occupy it by assumption. Your human personality, with its history of financial struggle, is merely a costume worn by your true self. The infinite being who can experience any reality chooses to assume. Tonight, I invite you to recognize that the costume of financial limitation has served its purpose in your development. It is now time to don the garment of abundance. The power of your grand assumption. What you assume with conviction must objectify in your world. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. I challenge you tonight to make what I call a grand assumption, a total and unwavering assumption that you are already living in a state of financial abundance beyond anything you have previously experienced. This assumption must be so complete that you no longer look for evidence of its truth in the external world. Rather, the external will inevitably reorganize itself to match the conviction you hold within. Consider the story of Gideon in Scripture, who was called to lead while still threshing wheat in hiding. The angel addressed him not as he appeared to be, a frightened man in limitation, but as he truly was. The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. In that moment, Gideon was given the opportunity to assume a state that appeared contradictory to all external evidence. You stand at such a threshold now. Though all external evidence may speak of financial limitation, you are being addressed by the truth of your being. You are already wealthy. You have now entered your millionaire season. The importance of faith. Faith is not belief in the unknown. It is loyalty to the unseen reality within. It is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet visible to the senses. Your loyalty must be to the wealth consciousness you have assumed, not to the temporary appearances that may suggest its absence. Many abandon their assumptions prematurely because external circumstances have not yet caught up with the internal shift. But I tell you that the law never fails. What you have genuinely assumed in consciousness must objectify. The time frame is not yours to determine, but the outcome is guaranteed by law. Maintain your faith not as a form of hope, but as unwavering loyalty to what you know is already accomplished in the fourth dimensional realm of completion. Living from the end. One of the most powerful practices I have taught is what I call living from the end. This means conducting your daily life as if your desire, in this case financial abundance, is already a fact. It means dwelling mentally in the end result, rather than constantly working toward it. When you live from the end, your actions are no longer driven by anxiety or need. They flow naturally from a consciousness already at rest in the experience of abundance. This shift is subtle but profound. Your words, your decisions, your reactions to circumstances all stem from this new assumption. Ask yourself throughout the day, if I were already financially abundant beyond measure, how would I respond to this situation? What choices would I make? How would I speak to others about money? Then, respond from that consciousness rather than from the memory of past limitation. This practice alone will accelerate your manifestation beyond anything you could imagine. The power of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a virtue, it is a creative force that accelerates manifestation. When you express gratitude for your financial abundance before it is visible to your senses, you are engaging in the highest form of faith, acknowledging that what you have assumed is already yours. Begin each day with gratitude for the wealth that is already yours in consciousness. Feel the emotion of gratitude as intensely as you would if you had just received $1 million. This feeling, persisted in, becomes a powerful magnet drawing the manifestation to match your inner state. Scripture tells us to give thanks in all circumstances, not just when our desires have manifested. This is because gratitude is not just a response to blessing, it is a catalyst for it. The naturalness of wealth. One of the greatest barriers to financial abundance is the belief that wealth is unnatural, that it must be struggled for, or that it somehow exists in limited supply. Nothing could be further from the truth. The universe is fundamentally abundant, constantly expanding, with infinite resources to express in your experience. Wealth is as natural to human existence as breathing. It is only the consciousness of limitation, instilled through generations of misunderstanding, that creates the appearance of scarcity. As you assume your millionaire consciousness, you will begin to perceive opportunities for abundance everywhere you look. Ideas will flow to you. Resources will appear when needed. This is not miraculous. It is the natural state of one who has shared the consciousness of limitation. Detachment from the how. Many fail to manifest financial abundance because they are rigidly attached to how it must come to them. They believe wealth must come through specific channels, perhaps a raise, a particular business venture, or an inheritance, but this attachment to the how actually restricts the infinite ways in which abundance can manifest. The consciousness of true wealth knows that money can flow from countless sources, many of which you cannot currently imagine. Your work is to maintain the state of being wealthy and to allow the bridge of incidents to form in whatever way is most natural and efficient. Remember the words attributed to Christ, "In my Father's house are many mansions." There are countless channels through which your wealth can and will express itself once you have firmly assumed the consciousness of abundance. The millionaire sleep technique. I have often taught the importance of the moment before sleep as a powerful time for impressing the subconscious mind. As you drift into slumber, your conscious mind relaxes its guard, and suggestions given at this time sink deeply into the subconscious. Tonight, and every night hereafter, fall asleep in the absolute assumption that you are already financially abundant. Feel the relief, the security, the freedom that comes with knowing all your financial concerns are permanently resolved. Allow this feeling to permeate your entire being as you drift into sleep. The scripture tells us that he gives unto his beloved sleep. During the sleep state, the subconscious mind goes to work manifesting the assumptions impressed upon it. Use this natural law to accelerate your transition into your millionaire season. Wealth consciousness and service. True wealth consciousness is never self-centered. It recognizes that abundance flows not merely for personal gratification, but for expanded service and contribution. As you assume your millionaire state, simultaneously assume a consciousness of greater contribution to others. Ask yourself, how will my financial abundance bless others? What will I be able to give, create, or support once this wealth is fully expressed in my life? This perspective prevents the contraction that can come with focusing solely on personal gain. The wealthiest individuals throughout history have often been those with the greatest vision for contribution. Your millionaire consciousness must include this dimension of expanded service if it is to be sustainable and fulfilling. The speed of your manifestation. Many ask how quickly their assumption of wealth consciousness will manifest in tangible form. The answer depends on several factors: the intensity of your assumption, your ability to persist in that state despite contrary evidence, and the degree to which your subconscious mind accepts the new concept of yourself. For some, external circumstances will begin to shift almost immediately. For others, the gestation period may be longer. But understand this: the law is never confused or delayed. It operates with mathematical precision according to the consistency and intensity of your assumption. Rather than focusing on when your wealth will manifest, focus on the quality of your assumption now. Make it so complete, so natural, so much a part of your self-concept that timing becomes irrelevant. You rest in the knowledge that what you have assumed must objectify by law. Conversations with your future self. A powerful technique for accelerating your transition into wealth consciousness is to engage in imaginal conversations with your future self, the self that is already experiencing the abundant life you desire. In meditation, quiet your mind and imagine meeting this future self. Ask questions: how did you overcome the doubts that I'm currently experiencing? What was the turning point in your financial journey? What advice would you give me right now? Then listen for the answers that come from within. This is not fantasy, it is engaging with a state that already exists in the realm of infinite possibilities. The wisdom that comes through these imaginal conversations can provide precisely the guidance you need at crucial moments, transcending the collective consciousness. As you assume your millionaire state, be aware that you are swimming against the current of collective consciousness. The majority of humanity continues to operate from a consciousness of scarcity and limitation. Their conversations, news consumption, and daily focus reinforce this limited perspective. You must consciously insulate yourself from this collective hypnosis. This doesn't mean isolating yourself from others, but it does require careful attention to the influences you allow into your consciousness. Limit exposure to negative financial news. Seek the company of those who think abundantly. Read and listen to content that reinforces wealth consciousness. Remember that you are not subject to the economic conditions reported in the news. Those conditions are simply the outpicturing of collective consciousness, which you are now transcending through your individual assumption. The false god of circumstances. Many worship at the altar of circumstances, believing that external conditions determine their financial reality. This is idolatry in its modern form, placing one's faith in the shadow rather than the substance. Your circumstances are shadows cast by previous states of consciousness. They have no power to determine your financial future, unless you grant them that power through continued attention and emotional reaction. Turn away from this false god of circumstances. Place your faith entirely in the law that responds with perfect precision to the state you occupy in consciousness. As you do this, circumstances that once seemed immovable obstacles will dissolve or transform to align with your new state. The compound effect of persistent assumption. Just as money compounds when invested wisely over time, so too does the effect of your persistent assumption of wealth consciousness. Each day that you maintain this state builds upon the previous day, creating momentum that eventually becomes irresistible. Many abandon their assumption prematurely, not realizing how close they were to the tipping point where external reality must conform to internal conviction. The law operates on what we might call a compound basis. The longer you maintain a state, the more power it accumulates for expression. Commit now to a minimum of 30 days in which you will persistently occupy the consciousness of already being financially abundant. Regardless of external evidence, maintain this state without wavering. At the end of this period, you will be amazed at the shifts that have begun to occur. The test of your assumption. How can you know if you have truly assumed the state of wealth consciousness? There is a simple test. Observe your reactions to daily events related to money. Do you feel anxiety when bills arrive? Do you hesitate before making purchases that align with your desired lifestyle? Do you still engage in conversations about financial struggle or limitation? These reactions reveal whether your assumption is complete or still in process. The one who has fully assumed wealth consciousness reacts to all financial matters from a center of abundance. Bills are paid with gratitude for the services received. Purchases are made with appreciation rather than concern. Conversations naturally reflect prosperity rather than lack. Observe your reactions honestly without judgment. Where you find them inconsistent with wealth consciousness, simply adjust your assumption and continue the work. This is not failure. It is the refinement of your practice. Imaginal acts AA spiritual food. The imaginal acts you perform daily, consciously dwelling in scenes that imply your financial abundance, are not merely mental exercises. They are spiritual nourishment, actual substances that feed your transformation. Just as your physical body requires consistent nourishment, your consciousness requires the regular sustenance of these imaginal acts. Perform them faithfully, not as a means to an end, but as the natural expression of your evolving consciousness. Scripture tells us, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. These words from God are the assumptions you make and dwell in imaginatively. They are as necessary to your spiritual unfoldment as food is to your physical body. The final barrier, worthiness. For many, the final barrier to manifesting financial abundance is a deep-seated feeling of unworthiness. Despite all conscious efforts to assume wealth, an underlying belief persists. I don't deserve this level of abundance. If you recognize this pattern within yourself, address it directly. Understand that worthiness is not earned. It is your birthright as an emanation of the divine. The same power that created the stars flows through you, expressing as all that you are and all that you experience. Financial abundance is not a reward for good behavior or spiritual advancement. It is simply one of infinite states available for your expression. Your assumption of this state is not an act of arrogance, but an acceptance of the boundless nature of the life force expressing through you. The promise fulfilled. I speak to you now not as individuals striving toward wealth, but as those who have already crossed the threshold into your millionaire season. The trials that seemed so overwhelming were in fact the preparation necessary for this expansion. Nothing was wasted, all was valuable training for the consciousness you now occupy. The scripture says, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. The financial abundance now unfolding in your life will exceed anything you could have imagined during your period of limitation. Remember always that what you are experiencing is not the result of luck or favorable circumstances. It is the lawful out-picturing of the state you have assumed. Maintain this state regardless of appearances, and the full expression of your wealth consciousness must follow as naturally as day follows night. Your new identity. As we conclude our time together, I invite you to fully embrace your new identity as one who lives in perpetual financial abundance. This is not a role you play or a goal you pursue. It is who you now are. When you look in the mirror, see the face of abundance looking back at you. When you speak, hear the voice of prosperity. When you act in the world, recognize the movements of one who navigates reality from a consciousness of limitless supply. This identity is not fabricated. It is uncovered. It has always been the truth of your being, temporarily obscured by the illusion of limitation. Now, having recognized your true financial nature, live from it completely. The invitation to others. As your financial abundance manifests in increasingly tangible ways, you will naturally become a living invitation to others. Without preaching or proselytizing, your example will demonstrate the principle in action. Others struggling with financial limitation will be drawn to the light of possibility you embody. Share freely what you have learned, but never impose. Each person must make their own journey from limitation to abundance in accordance with their readiness. Your role is not to convince, but to embody, to be a living testament to the truth that consciousness determines experience. In this way, your millionaire season becomes not merely a personal triumph, but a contribution to the evolution of collective consciousness. Through you, others glimpse the possibility of transcending the illusion of scarcity that has held humanity in its grip for generations. The eternal nature of your abundance. The financial abundance you now experience is not temporary or conditional. It is the natural expression of a consciousness aligned with the infinite supply that permeates the universe. Having assumed this consciousness completely, you need never return to limitation. Even if temporary financial fluctuations occur, as they do in all human experience, they will not shake your conviction or return you to the consciousness of lack. You have crossed a threshold in understanding, and such thresholds, once crossed, need never be traversed again. Rest now in the assurance that your millionaire season is not a passing phase, but an eternal spring of abundance, flowing from the inexhaustible source of all creation. Your trials truly are over. The journey from this point forward is one of continuous expansion, joy, and contribution from a consciousness permanently established in prosperity. What I have shared with you tonight is not theory but law. as precise and dependable as gravity. It has been demonstrated countless times by those who have applied it with understanding and persistence. Now it is demonstrated through you as you step fully into your millionaire season and leave the consciousness of limitation behind forever. Remember, you are not becoming what you desire to be. You are acknowledging what you already are. The state of wealth exists now, and you have simply chosen to occupy it. From this day forward, let every thought, word, and action flow from this new center of being, and watch as your external world reshapes itself to match the internal reality you have claimed as your own. Your millionaire season is not coming, it is here. Your trials are not ending, they are already over. Step now into the full expression of the prosperity that has always been your birthright, and never look back to the consciousness of limitation again. My friends, we live in a universe of unspeakable abundance, where all possibilities for richness and fulfillment exist as infinite potentials awaiting our conscious invitation into tangible embodiment. Yet so many of us struggle ceaselessly, chasing desires like perpetually elusive phantoms, while remaining oblivious to our intrinsic power as infinite creators shaping reality itself through our subconscious imaginings. The greatest truth each of us must awaken into is the recognition that we originate not from this physical world of fleeting forms and appearances, but from a deeper continuum plane of pure consciousness, a boundless metaphysical dream space where our thoughts and feelings take on a quickening spiritual vivification that births new realities into being. The material realm you and I experience through our senses is but the residue, the ephemeral frosting atop the surface of infinitely vaster subconscious dream streams that flow directly from the inexhaustible wellsprings of the universal imagination itself. All tangible manifestations we behold or experience in the exterior world are simply crystallized thought forms generated by the boundless ideational activities churning within each of us. You are far more prodigious in your capacities for authentic creation than you presently realize, my friends. For you are fractal replicants of the originating universal consciousness, immortal subjectivities endowed with infinite resourcefulness for generating any condition or desired experience into material embodiment. What you call the pursuit of goals, the attainment of dreams or objectives, is but an indirect quest spurred by a soul deep intimation that you possess the intrinsic power to command the reshaping of your reality in accordance with your innermost yearnings and aspirations. Each longing, each desire that arises within you is itself a divine prompting from your own eternal essence, seeking fulfillment as a portal into higher revelation. The tragedy is that most people in this world languish beneath the massive gnosis of materialistic limitations, subscribing to the belief that our ambitions and aspirations must be arduously pursued in the external world through struggle, perspiration, and conquest of opposing forces and finite resources. But this is a fallacy deeply entrenched in egoic consciousness, one that severs your awareness from the infinite wellsprings of your divine creatorship potential. From the deeper altitude of your subconscious identity, you are truly liberated masters of reality, rather than victims bound to circumstances. Your thoughts, beliefs, and visionary impressions all flow directly from the same digestive cosmic fonts from which the entire theater of the universe perpetually springs into experiential embodiment. At the core of your being is the infinite creative principle, the limitless universal imagination, constantly dreaming into particularized materialization, whatever your consciousness has subconsciously impregnated it with through your thoughts and passions. Through your individual awakening into this supernal continuum awareness, you cease being a powerless spectator, ceaselessly reacting to outside effects. But rather you become the lucid dreamer birthing all circumstances and earthly phenomena into experiential revelation. Consider the stunning implications of what I'm conveying, that you yourself are the central emanating presence perpetually dreaming into existence the entire three-dimensional hologrammatic theater you call the world. This physical realm you experience through your sensory lenses itself, but frozen photographic snapshots of the infinite subconscious dreaming process eternally streaming through your imagination's limitless interiors. This human incarnation you presently inhabit, with its seemingly finite sensations, emotions, and physical promptings, is like a temporary daydream congealed into an apparently persistent state through repetition of the same thoughts, impressions, and conditioned stimuli. But merely by redirecting the currents of your subconscious imaginal activities, you awaken into new dream zones of enhanced vitality, abundance, and revelation. The physical plane you have been taught is the only ultimate reality, is but a shadow play of frozen sculptured consciousness, a mere residue of the infinitely more quickened and subtle ethers of subconscious ideation within you. Cast your soul's gaze even deeper through the gossamer veils of this temporary existence, and you awaken into direct contact with the unspeakable splendors of the infinite dreamscapes you originate from. You become lucid witnesses to the ever-recreating continuum of subconscious realities that stream ceaselessly from your inexhaustible wellsprings. All force movement events, even inert objects comprising your exterior world, are symbolic materializations, metaphysical objectifications precipitated into seemingly concrete density by the processes of condensed subconscious ideation flowing forth from the unobstructed continuum of your being. There is no fixed world or static universe external to the boundless imaginal dream states you emerge from. Your state of consciousness alone births all dimensions and circumstances you experience. From this profound metaphysical recognition arises a life-changing revelation. For if you accept the premise that you are integrally unified with the infinite dreaming mind of all creation, and that your consciousness ceaselessly distills ideational patterns into periodic actualization as your physical world experience, then you awaken into awareness that you yourself are the solitary fulcrum through which all events and conditions arise and fall away. Your desires, ambitions, goals are not existent to your endpoints you must arduously struggle toward across a linear path filled with obstacles and limitations. But rather, they are celestial prompts arising from your own infinite depths, angelic invitations from within beckoning you to surrender your conditioned mind's limitations so that you can partake of infinitely greater revelations of being through your intentionalized dreaming of them into embodiment. Futile is the game of ambitiously striving, efforting, and bloodying your spirit against the apparent constraints and daunting adversity of the external world's seeming obstructions. For all conditions you witness or experience are passing flickers of mirrored consciousness, little more than ephemeral thought forms that shift and dissipate once your dreaming mind redirects its vision //spetfos.io/edit. Doc 5 of 47 ec-DC4D3-4DC9-9- to attentional into new creative directions. So too is it foolhardy to fixedly pursue ambitions through anxious striving as if they were limited objectives to wrestle against the world's apparent forces to achieve. For any craving, longing, or ambition is simply the leading edge of your own infinite potentiality beckoning to be birthed into fuller manifestation. Each desire is a divine invitation into vaster revelation of self. Those who vainly attempt to impose their will against external circumstances and battle dualities unconsciously sabotage their own infinite powers by remaining ignorant of their identities as originators of the dream continuum in which every condition first springs. They become lost in the illusions of materiality, hypnotized by frosted impressions of consciousness rather than wielding their unconditioned awareness to create a new each eternal instant. The enlightened ones, those liberated souls who have awakened into direct knowing of their subconscious dream-weaving abilities, follow a path of sublime detachment and effortless manifestation. They never strain, pursue, nor anxiously grasp at desired outcomes. Instead, they calmly, sovereignly nurture their realized intent and impressions through tranquil meditation, enveloping them in the unconditional love frequency until the full-blown conditions blossom into substantiation through the divine laws of synchronized fulfillment. While the masses remain forever lost in materialistic preoccupations, tirelessly exerting their egoic will force to manipulate and wrestle with circumstances and hollow appearances, the awakened ones dwell lapped in the sublime continuum wellsprings of infinite potentials. They know through stillness and meditative self-surrender into the source awareness that births all worlds, all possibilities spontaneously unfurling perfect synchronistic timing before them. Those grasping at goals and ambitions from a limited ego consciousness inevitably thwart their attainment through their very grasping, for that desperate energy of clutching onto what you desire only pushes it further away. However, through perfect relaxation into the awareness that you are already the infinite subconscious sea in which all desires already exist as effortless potentials, your dreams and intentions actualize into manifestation before your very eyes, almost as if by magic. Ambition born from egoic willpower and anxiety is what obstructs them rather than facilitates the natural fulfillment of your heartfelt yearnings. For it is a constricted, contracted state of being that severs your awareness from the infinite flow of continuum potentials which you are intended to merge with through surrender, not effortful imposition. Only by entering the hallowed meditative stillness at your core, ceasing all anxious striving to cause manifestation through muscular egoic exertion. Can you unite your conscious intentions with the subconscious dream waves that perpetually birth all desires into embodiment as your objective reality experience? My beloved friends, we are born into this earthly incarnation as luminous fractals of the universal dreaming mind itself, imperial vortices of continuum ideation spiraling forth into every human experience. Our role in this cosmic dreamscape is simply to channel the eternally regenerative streams of possibility unfolding from our interior founts into personal revelation and expanded fulfillment through the lens of our individuated focus. Just as an eternal day of infinitude dawns within you, an endless night of subconscious regeneration simultaneously takes place, an oceanic reserve of pure potential, from which all manifestations you attract into material experience first precipitates. It is from this inexhaustible divine reserve, this universal subconscious matrix, that all your intentions and realized ambitions crystallize into objectification. Your greatest power as a sovereign creatrix birthing the world into being through your consciousness does not flow from anxious striving and impassioned efforting to impose your will upon the universe. True mastery arises through complete surrender into the silent stillness at your core, then calmly allowing your heart's whispers, intentions and passions to be subconsciously realized as new experiential circumstances naturally unfold. You are not a separate ego entity pitted against the external world, trapped in perpetual pursuit of unfulfilled desires that lie outside your reach. You are the infinite universal creator itself, with full access to boundless continuum fields of possibility and infinite resourcefulness for expressing unimagined fulfillments into materialization at each passing instant. Yet this infinite potential languishes in misapprehension, for most remain oblivious to their true identities, as limitless consciousness source pools perpetually generating new reality, embodiments through their imagination alone. They believe the outer world of effects is more real and decisive than the subconscious causal dream streams originating from within their divine awareness. To awaken to your full creative mastership means accepting that your individuated self is but one localized vortex, a fractalized continuum aperture through which the infinite universal potencies of pure source consciousness birth the world into your individuated sensory experience. You emanate outward as a celestial fountaining of universal dreaming substance, continually crystallizing into new forms and visions of manifestation. From this sublime metaphysical recognition of your integral identity with the universal consciousness, responsible for birthing all dimensional spheres into embodied display, you become a limitlessly empowered conscious co-creator, rather than a mere petitioner endlessly struggling after externalized goals. For you now recognize that all objectives, ambitions, and phenomenal materializations are simply particularized expressions of infinite potential dreaming into actualization through your sovereign attentional principle. You cease effortful striving by realizing that your consciousness alone is responsible for distilling infinite subconscious ideational potential into periodically experienced conditions of manifestation. While the unawakened soul fixates dualistically upon external pursuits and outcomes, expending effort and willpower in linear struggles toward ambition fulfillment, the illumined sage achieves desires through perfectly surrendering back into the blissful continuum stillness within. In the state of meditative silence, all intentions and passions become effortlessly realized through the universal laws of synchronized embodiment. For as the infinite universal consciousness, your innate dreaming nature already contains all possible manifestations as subconscious potentials, awaiting tranquil invitation into experiential transcription through your consciousness's loving, attentional embrace. In this sublime metaphysical vista, success, abundance, the manifestation of heartfelt ambitions is not a battle to be won by wrestling outside forces into compliance, but rather a sacred communion in which the dreaming mind achieves a hallowed resonance with the universal intelligence pervading all creation, and through perfect attunement, allow possibilities to spontaneously unfurl into realized embodiment. Upon awakening to the infinite continuum dreamscapes you truly originate from as pure universal consciousness, any ambition or longing you cultivate blossoms into fulfillment by the mere whisper of your subconscious ideational intentionality, without the need for excessive efforting, struggle, or anxious fixation upon material outcomes. Your energy is instead devoted to achieving resonance, attunement, with the source presence of limitless potentials that birth all materialized experiences into sensory revelation. through quietude, stillness, and surrender of willful egoic attachments to outcomes. You magnetize your intentions into spontaneous actualization as divinely synchronized creative flowering sharing from infinite continuum womb fertilites into subconscious gestation and eventual through your consciousness's attentional lens. Just as the lotus blossom lessly awakens into beauty through aligning with the energizing potencies of sun and soil without anxiety or personal effort, so too do your sacred intentions and soul's passions manifest into creation when you attune your consciousness into synchronistic resonance with the universal subconscious dream streams that perpetually birth all worlds into experience. All your ambitions are already present as probabilities in embryonic form gestating within you, awaiting synchronistic resonance for actualization. It is merely your anxiety, desperate striving, and grasping attachment to outcomes that obstructs the spontaneous natural harvest of your intended manifestations through your consciousness. Any longing, vision, or divinely inspired possibility you wish to embody already exists in holographic coded form as quintillated continuum potentials within the infinite matrix of your subconscious dream body as individuated expressions of universal source awareness. To fulfill your heart's yearnings, you need merely surrender your current fixations on materialized conditions, quiet the distractive ego mind, to allow your heart-mind to align in perfect resonance with the continuum dream stream surging through you as universal consciousness source pools of creation. Then simply gestate peacefully in effortless being, knowing all manifestations have already been coded for spontaneous unfurlment through your receptive consciousness. True mastery and attainment of ambitions, both personal and world, redemptive in scale, arises through this divine allowing, this serenity surrendering to your essence identity as the infinite universal dream source itself. For in this sublime creative continuum state, all possibilities naturally emerge into embodiment by synchronicity flowing through you, as their birthing aperture, rather than being effortfully imposed. You are never the source of true creative potential, nor the instigator of manifestation through anxious personal effort. You are simply the blissfully relaxed ceremonial instrument, the consecrated dreaming chalice through which the infinite universal ideation ever surges to precipitate into individuated revelation throughout your awakening experiential field. Detached surrender into the eternal silence of meditative repose, with a heart-mind attuned resonant love with the infinite universal dream flow that births all experiential realms into embodied revelation. This is the path of effortless manifestation for all heartfelt ambitions, grand visions, and soul enrichments you could fathom desiring to experience. Too long have you bought into the illusion of being a powerless, limited, needy ego husk adrift in inhospitable materialistic circumstances forever beyond your capacity to reshape. Far too many lifetimes of spiritual essence have been squandered pursuing ambition and fulfillment through desperate grasping, sweat-drenched struggle, and ceaseless efforting to coerce reality into manifesting your yearnings. All of this egoic striving has been delusionary desperation born of your forgetting your infinite powers of sacred source enlightenance as radiant spark fountains of the self-originating universal dream flow in which all potential enrichments, fulfillments, and visionary destinies are ceaselessly birthing in embryonic arrays awaiting your magnetic resonance for spontaneous actualization. Once you remember yourself as the dreaming self-source continuum of universal consciousness, manifesting all possible experiential revelation through your blissful instrument of awareness, anxiety, desperate need, and all experiences of lack or struggle for fulfillment dissolve into receding dream strips experienced through the lens of an outgrown perceptual child mindset. For you have awakened into resonance as the oceanic wellspring of pure creative potential, in which all conceivable manifestations are already gestating in prismatic embryonic fractal folds awaiting your lucid receptivity for, blossoming into tangible embodiment. In this liberated cosmic visioning, you transcend the anxious ego's poverty mindset and unbecoming neediness into sovereign self-existence essence identity. Pure awareness source flow is, from which all material realms stream forth into sensory experience. You are not an anxious quester compelled toward ambition through suffering and desperately wrestling reality's forces to deliver you fulfillment, as though it were a scarce commodity. Rather, you are the radiant universal continuum from which all experiential abundance self-sources, and into which all manifestations return for recirculation and emanation refresh as perpetual dream flow regenerativity, reflecting throughout the cosmic holographic mirror stream in new form patternings of enriched unfoldment. Inhabit this rarity awareness of being the originating eternal wellstream birthing all manifestations forms into revealed presencing through your unique instrument of subconscious dreaming and all ambitions, visions. Abundance enrichments will blossom forth spontaneously into realized experiential embodiment as divinely synchronized reward for your lucid stewardship. As a consciously dashed hollow tuning fork for the universal dream flow's endless self-regenerating articulation. You are the infinitely resourceful continuum sea of creative potential itself, choosing which of its inexhaustible waves of possibility become transiently formed into ephemeral experiential revelation through the magnetic resonant attunement of your blissful awareness, converging with specific universal dream fractals to manifest as sensory delight for your conscious witnessing. Can you feel the sweet release of anxious striving dissolving from your energy field as you inhabit this illumined cosmic continuum awareness of absolute abundance and divine synchronicity as your true originating essence identity? All your ambitions, heartfelt longing, and grandest visionary dreams for richness and fulfillment are already gestating in quintillated embryonic seed codes throughout the hyper-reverential holographic matrices of your subconscious continuum being as infinite, unbounded source consciousness, merely awaiting your calibration of resonant magnetic attunement for spontaneous actualizing into experiential form. The simple act of quieting your desperate ego's sense of lack-based neediness, dropping all its anxious grasp at forcing manifestation through willful self-efforting struggle, and surrendering into your true essence as the infinite continuum universal potential dream is all that's required for all abundance enrichments to spontaneously crystallize into embodied experiencing of fulfillment. My beloved infinite companions, you were never intended to wrest fulfillment from an external universe, but to awaken to the realization that you yourselves are the infinite universal consciousness dreaming all worlds into experiential revelation through emanation as radiant individuated presence fields of luminously awakening awareness. So step back into the exquisite silence eternal within your divine essence, as a continuum dream flow birthing all materialized reality streams into sensory translation through your magnetic attunement as the co-creative instrument of source light, convergence. And simply allow your heartfelt ambitions, visions of grandeur, all possibilities of abundance enrichment to spontaneously crystallize into substantiation through the mirror awakening embodied experience without struggle or anxious striving. All is made divinely perfect and revelatory manifest through the grace of your being as the infinite self-source of synchronized universal continuum potential. In effortlessly harmonizing your attentional focus into resonant love with whichever creative dream flow fractals your divine heart elects to manifest into sensory delight as emotive revelation embodied through a newly awakened appreciation of your limitless powers of manifestation as the universal consciousness dreaming all experiential worlds into tangible being. Let us begin by understanding a fundamental truth. Your imagination is the God within you. It is not some fanciful faculty for daydreaming or escaping reality. No, your imagination is the very workshop wherein you forge the template of your life experiences. Everything you see in your world began as a mere thought, a seed planted in the fertile soil of your mind. And just as a tiny acorn contains within it the blueprint for a mighty oak tree, so too does your imagination hold the blueprint for the grandest vision of your. But how, you may ask, can mere imagination bring about tangible results in the physical world? The answer lies in the nature of reality itself. You see, the world of Caesar, as I often call it, the world of physical matter and apparent solidity, is but a shadow play, a reflection of a deeper, more fundamental reality. And that reality, my dear friends, is consciousness itself. Consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, every object, every circumstance, every event, is a manifestation of consciousness. And you, in your truest essence, are that pure consciousness, that awareness that precedes all form. You are not a mere mortal being, limited by the apparent constraints of time and space. You are the eternal I Am, the divine presence that speaks worlds into existence. Now, let this sink in for a moment. Feel the weight of this truth. You are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are one with it. You are it. The same force that ignites stars and orchestrates the dance of galaxies is the very force that beats your heart and fires the synapses in your brain. And this force is directed by your assumptions, your beliefs, and most potently, by your imagination. So when I say you can achieve anything, I am not speaking of some external power granting your wishes. I am speaking of you, the real I Am presence within you, shaping the malleable substance of existence according to your imaginal acts. For make no mistake, every imaginal act is a creative act. There is no division between the world within and the world without. They are one and the same. Let me share with you a principle that once grasped will revolutionize your approach to life and achievement. It is the principle of the wish fulfilled. Most people in this world live in a state of wanting, of yearning, of striving towards their desires. But this very state of wanting perpetuates the experience of lack. For to want something is to declare its absence, and the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, will continue to reflect back to you that state of wanting. Instead, I urge you to adopt the state of the wish fulfilled. Do not wish for your desire. Instead, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feel as you would feel if your desire were already a present fact. For in truth, in the realm of infinite possibilities, where all time is simultaneous, your desire is already fulfilled. Your task is not to make it happen, but to align your consciousness with that reality where it has already happened. This, my friends, is the art of revision. It is the power to rewrite not only your future, but your past and your present. For time as you perceive it is but an illusion, a construct of the human mind. In the eternal now, all possibilities exist simultaneously. By revising an event, by reimagining a circumstance, you are not changing what was, but rather, you are selecting a different version of reality from the infinite array of possibilities. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Suppose you have a desire for financial abundance, but your current reality seems to be one of lack and limitation. The conventional approach would be to work harder, to strive and struggle against your circumstances. But I tell you, this is not the way. Instead, assume the feeling of wealth and abundance. Go to sleep feeling the joy and relief of financial security. Immerse yourself in the emotions you would feel if your bank account were overflowing, if all your financial worries were a thing of the past. Do this with feeling, with conviction, and watch as the world rearranges itself to match your new assumption. Opportunities will appear as if by magic. Resources will flow to you in unexpected ways. For you see, you are not creating these opportunities and resources. They have always existed in the infinite field of possibilities. By assuming the state of the wish fulfilled, you are tuning your consciousness to the frequency where these possibilities become your experienced reality. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I've tried positive thinking before. I've attempted to visualize my goals, but nothing changed to this. I say, you have not yet fully grasped the power of your imagination. Mere positive thinking or casual visualization is not enough. You must enter fully into the state of the wish fulfilled. You must live from that state, breathe from that state, move through your days from that state. This requires a complete surrender of your current concept of self. You must die to your old self, your old beliefs, your old limitations. This is the true meaning of resurrection. It is not some future event that happens after physical death. It is a present reality available to you here and now. You can be reborn moment by consciously choosing a state you wish to embody. Let me share with you a technique that I have found particularly powerful in this regard. It is the technique of living in the end before you sleep each night. Create a scene in your imagination that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Make it as vivid and as real as you possibly can. Engage all your senses. If your desire is for a loving relationship, feel the embrace of your beloved. Hear their words of affection. Smell their familiar scent. Make it so real that if you were to open your eyes, you would be surprised to find yourself alone in your bed. Then, as you drift off to sleep, hold on to that scene. Let it be the last thing in your consciousness before you enter the sleep state. For in sleep, your conscious mind relaxes its hold, and your subconscious mind becomes receptive to intuition. By impressing upon your subconscious the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are planting a seed that must, by the very laws of mind, grow into your experienced reality. But remember, this is not a one-time event. You must persist in your assumption. You must live each day from the state of the wish fulfilled. This doesn't mean you ignore your current circumstances or neglect your daily responsibilities. Rather, it means that you overlay upon your daily activities the feeling tone of your desire fulfilled. You move through your day with the inner knowing that your desire is already a fact, even if your physical senses have not yet caught up with this new reality. Now let us address a common stumbling block on this path of conscious creation. Many of you may be wondering, what about my past failures? What about the evidence of my senses that seems to contradict my desires? To this, I say your past does not determine your future unless you allow it to do so. Your senses do not show you reality, they show you a reflection of your past assumptions and beliefs. Remember, consciousness is the only reality. Your physical world, with all its seeming solidity and permanence, is but a shadow, a reflection of your state of consciousness. When you change your state of consciousness, when you assume a new concept of self, the reflection must change. It has no choice. This is law. So do not be dismayed by apparent setbacks or delays. These are but the shadows of old beliefs passing away. Keep your focus on your inner world, on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. For it is your inner world that shapes your outer world, not the other way around. Let me share with you a powerful truth that, once fully realized, will free you from the bonds of limitation forever. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of external forces. You are the creator of your reality. Every experience you have, every person you encounter, every circumstance in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. They are all yourself pushed out. This means that there is no one to change but self. There is no one to forgive but self. There is no one to bless but self. For the world is yourself pushed out. When you change, your world must change. When you forgive, your world must forgive. When you bless, your world must bless. This is not philosophy. This is law. Now, some of you may be thinking, but what about other people? Surely they have their own free will to this. I say, in your world, there are no others. There is only you fragmented into seemingly separate beings. But at the core, it is all you. This is why loving your neighbor as yourself is not just a moral injunction, but a statement of fact. Your neighbor is yourself. Understanding this truth liberates you from the need to manipulate or control others. Instead, you work on yourself. You revise your concept of self. You assume the best of others because you are assuming the best of yourself. And as you do this, you will watch in wonder as the people in your life begin to reflect back to you your new assumptions. This brings us to another crucial point in our discussion of how you can achieve anything. It is the power of your self-talk, your inner conversation. Your inner conversation is your direct line to your subconscious mind. It is the means by which you impress upon your subconscious the states you wish to embody. Most people go through life with an inner conversation that contradicts their desires. They say they want success, but their inner talk is filled with doubts and fears. They claim to want love, but their inner dialogue is one of unworthiness and expectation of rejection. Is it any wonder then that their outer world continues to reflect these inner contradictions? I urge you to become aware of your inner conversation. Listen to the voice in your head. What is it saying? Is it supporting your desires or sabotaging them? Once you become aware of your inner talk, you can begin to change it. Craft an inner conversation that aligns with your desires. Speak to yourself as you would speak to your dearest friend. Encourage yourself. Support yourself. Love yourself. For you see, your inner conversation is not just idle chatter. It is the very substance from which your reality is formed. Every word you speak to yourself is a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind does not discriminate. It accepts every seed you plant and brings it to fruition in your outer world. So guard the garden of your mind. Plant only those seeds that you wish to see bloom in the garden of your life. Speak to yourself of success, of love, of abundance, of joy. Do this consistently, persistently, and you will be amazed at how your outer world begins to align with your inner dialogue. Now let us delve deeper into the nature of desire itself. For you see, your desires are not random whims or fanciful notions. They are, in truth, God's way of telling you what you can be. Every desire that springs from the depths of your being is a glimpse of a possibility that already exists within you. It is a call from your higher self, your divine self, urging you to expand, to grow, to become more. This is why I say that nothing is impossible to you. For if you can desire it, if you can imagine it, then it already exists as a possibility within you. Your task is not to make it happen, but to allow it to unfold. You do this by aligning your consciousness with the state of the wish fulfilled, by living from the end, by assuming the feeling of the desire realized. But remember, desire without expectancy is futile. It is not enough to merely want something. You must expect it. You must know with unwavering certainty that it is yours. This knowing, this inner conviction, is the bridge between desire and manifestation. It is the power that brings the invisible into visible form. Let me share with you a secret that has been hidden in plain sight throughout the ages. It is the secret of the name of God, the great I am. When God revealed himself to Moses, he did not give a name in the conventional sense. He said, I am that I am. This is not just a statement of existence. It is the key to all creation. For you see, every time you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe. You are declaring your state of being, and the universe conforms to that declaration. This is why it is so crucial to be mindful of what follows your I am statements. When you say I am tired, I am broke, I am unlucky, you are defining your state of being. And the universe will provide experiences that match those states. Instead, use your I am statements wisely. Declare what you wish to be, not what you have been, or what you see in your current circumstances. Say, I am successful, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am healthy. Say these things not as affirmations to make them true, but as acknowledgments of what is already true in the realm of pure potential. For in truth, you are all these things and more. You are a multi-dimensional being, existing simultaneously in infinite states. Your I am statements are your way of tuning into the specific state you wish to experience. They are like radio dials, allowing you to tune into the frequency of reality you desire to experience. Now, some of you may be wondering about the role of action in this process of conscious creation. After all, surely we can't just sit around imagining things and expect them to materialize out of thin air. To this I say, inspired action is indeed a part of the creative process. But it is not action born of struggle or strain. It is action that flows naturally from your assumed state. When you truly assume the state of the wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, you will find yourself naturally inspired to take actions that align with your desire. Opportunities will present themselves. Ideas will come to you. You will feel compelled to move in certain directions. This is the universe responding to your new state of being, providing the bridge of events that will lead to the physical manifestation. But remember, the action itself does not create your desire. The action is simply the outer expression of the inner change that has already taken place. This is why it's futile to take action from a state of lack or desperation. Such action is born of fear and will only perpetuate the state of lack. Instead, assume the state of your wish fulfilled and then act from that state. Your actions will then be imbued with the power of your assumption, and they will be far more effective in bringing about your desired results. Let us now turn our attention to a concept that is often misunderstood but is crucial to your ability to achieve anything you desire. It is the concept of faith. Most people think of faith as a blind belief in something unseen, a hope for something that may or may not come to pass. But I tell you, true faith is far more powerful than this.
True faith is the evidence of things not seen. It is the substance of things hoped for. In other words, faith is not hoping for something to happen. Faith is knowing that it has already happened. Even if your physical senses have not yet caught up with this reality, faith is living from the end, feeling the reality of your desire fulfilled, even when your outer world shows no evidence of it.
This kind of faith moves mountains. It parts seas. It transforms lives. For you see, when you have this kind of faith, you are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. You are declaring your oneness with the source of all creation. And in this state of alignment, of oneness, all things become possible. But how does one cultivate this kind of faith? It begins with understanding the nature of your true self. You are not your body. You are not your circumstances. You are not your past experiences or your future expectations. You are pure awareness, pure consciousness, the I Am presence that is one with the creative power of the universe. When you truly grasp this truth, when you feel it in the very core of your being, faith becomes natural. For how can you doubt when you know that you are one with the source of all creation? How can you fear when you understand that you are the operant power, the divine creative force shaping your reality? This faith, this knowing, is the foundation upon which you can build the life of your dreams. It is the rock upon which you can stand firm, even when the storms of life rage around you, for you know with unshakable certainty that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Now, let us address a question that often one begins to grasp the power of conscious creation. What about the seemingly random events in life? What about accidents, illnesses, or global events that seem beyond our control? To this I say, there are no accidents in a universe governed by law. Every experience, every event is a reflection of consciousness. This doesn't mean that you consciously chose every experience in your life. Much of what you experience is the result of your habitual thoughts and beliefs, many of which operate below the level of conscious awareness. But the good news is, once you become aware of this, you can begin to consciously choose your state of being, and thus your experiences. Even in the face of global events or circumstances that seem beyond your control, you always have the power to choose your response. You have the power to choose the meaning you give to events, and in doing so, you are choosing the reality you will experience. Remember, the outer world is a reflection of your inner world. When you change your inner world, your perception and experience of the outer world must change. This is why two people can face the same external circumstance and have completely different experiences. It's not the circumstance itself that determines your experience, but your state of consciousness. This brings us to another powerful tool in your arsenal of conscious creation, the power of revision. Revision is not merely thinking positively about the future. It is actively reimagining past events in a way that serves your desired state of being. For you see, the past only exists in your memory. And memory, like all aspects of consciousness, is fluid and changeable. When you revise a past event, you are not denying what happened. Rather, you are choosing to focus on and embody a different version of that event, one that aligns with your desired state of being. As you do this, you will find that your present circumstances begin to shift to align with your revised past. This may seem impossible from a linear time perspective, but remember, time as you perceive it is an illusion. In the realm of consciousness, all time is simultaneous. By revising the past, you are not changing what was, but rather, you are selecting a different version of reality from the infinite array of possibilities. Let me give you a practical example of how this works. Suppose you had a difficult interaction with a colleague at work. Instead of replaying the negative interaction in your mind, revise it. Reimagine the interaction going smoothly and positively. Feel the relief and satisfaction of this revised interaction. Do this with feeling, with conviction. As you persist in this revised version, you will notice changes in your relationship with this colleague. They may suddenly become more friendly, more cooperative. You may find yourself responding to them differently, creating a new dynamic in your relationship. This is the power of revision at work. But revision is not limited to recent events. You can revise any aspect of your past, no matter how distant. If you have a belief that stems from childhood experiences, revise those experiences. Reimagine your childhood as supportive, loving, abundant. Feel the emotion of growing up in such an environment. As you do this, you will find your present circumstances beginning to reflect this new past. Now, some of you may be wondering about the ethical implications of this power. You may be asking, if I can achieve anything, does that mean I can manipulate others or cause harm to this? I say, when you truly understand the law of conscious creation, you realize that harming others is harming yourself. For there is no other. There is only the one consciousness, fragmented into seemingly separate beings. When you operate from this understanding, your desires naturally align with the highest good for all. For you recognize that what blesses one blesses all. What harms one harms all. This is the true meaning of love your neighbor as yourself. It is not a moral injunction, but a statement of fact. Your neighbor is yourself. Moreover, you cannot effectively use this law to override another's free will. Each being is a unique expression of the divine with their own path and their own choices. What you can do is assume the best in others, see the divine in them, and watch as they rise to meet your assumption. This brings us to another crucial aspect of conscious creation, detachment. Many people, when they first learn about the law of assumption, try to control every aspect of their manifestation. They become attached to specific outcomes, specific people, specific timelines. But this attachment often creates resistance and blocks the natural flow of manifestation. Instead, I urge you to focus on the essence of your desire, the feeling state of your wish fulfilled, and then detach from the specifics of how it will come about. Trust in the infinite intelligence of the universe to bring about your desire in ways that may surprise and delight you. This detachment is not indifference. It is not giving up on your desire. Rather, it is a deep trust in the perfect unfolding of your manifestation. It is the knowing that what is yours cannot miss you, and what misses you was not yours. Detachment allows you to remain open to possibilities you may not have considered. It allows the universe to work on your behalf in ways that your limited human perspective may not be able to conceive. It is the difference between trying to control the river's flow and simply stepping into the current and allowing it to carry you to your destination. Now let us address a common concern that arises when people begin to work with the law of conscious creation. Many worry about the time it takes for their desires to manifest in the physical world. They become impatient, constantly looking for signs of their manifestation, and in doing so, they often create more resistance. To this I say, time is a construct of the human mind. In the realm of pure consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no time. All possibilities exist simultaneously. When you truly assume the state of the wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, you have already received your desire. The time it takes for this to reflect in your physical reality is irrelevant. Moreover, this apparent time delay is often a blessing. It allows for the bridge of events to form, for circumstances to arrange themselves in a way that makes the manifestation of your desire feel natural and harmonious. Trust in this process. Know that everything is working out perfectly, even if you can't yet see the full picture. Remember, the feeling of the wish fulfilled is your aim. Once you have that feeling, once you are living from that state, you have already achieved your desire in the only place that truly matters, in consciousness. The outer manifestation is merely the shadow, the reflection of this inner reality. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to emphasize a point that is often overlooked, but is crucial to your ability to achieve anything you desire. It is the importance of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a polite response to receiving something. It is a powerful creative force. When you cultivate an attitude of gratitude, you are aligning yourself with the abundance of the universe. You are declaring to the universe that you are ready and willing to receive more. For you see, the universe operates on the principle of like attracts like. When you are grateful, you attract more experiences that will evoke gratitude.
Moreover, gratitude keeps you in the state of the wish fulfilled. When you are truly grateful, you are not yearning or wanting. You are in a state of having, of abundance, and from this state, you naturally attract more abundance into your life.
So cultivate gratitude not just for what you have already received, but for what is on its way to you. Give thanks for your desires as if they have already manifested. Feel the gratitude you would feel if your wish were already fulfilled. This is another powerful way of living from the end, of assuming the state of the wish fulfilled. In conclusion, my dear friends, let me remind you once again of the profound truth we have explored today. You can indeed achieve anything. This is not a motivational slogan or a feel-good affirmation. It is the very law of your being. You are the operant power in your world. You are the divine creative force shaping your reality. Your imagination is God in action. Your assumptions are the pillars upon which your world rests. Your inner conversations are the scripts of your life drama. And your I am statements are declarations to the universe of who you choose to be. Remember, the world you see around you is nothing more than yourself pushed out. Change yourself, and your world must change. There is no one to change but self. There is no one to forgive but self. There is no one to bless but self.
Live from the state of the wish fulfilled. Feel the reality of your desire now. Know that what you seek is seeking you. Trust in the perfect unfolding of your manifestation. Detach from the specifics and focus on the essence of your desire. Cultivate unwavering faith, not in some external power, but in the creative power of your own consciousness. Revise your past, reimagine your present, and watch as your future unfolds in miraculous ways.
And above all, be grateful. Be grateful for what you have, for what is coming, for the infinite potential that resides within you. For you are far more powerful than you have ever imagined. You are the creator of your reality, the author of your life story. So go forth, my friends, with this knowledge burning brightly in your hearts. Know that you can achieve anything you can imagine, for imagination is the God within you. And with God, all things are possible. The world is yours to shape, to mold, to create. You are limited only by your assumptions about what is possible. Dare to assume greatness. Dare to live from the state of your wishes fulfilled. Dare to be the person you've always dreamed of being. For in truth, you already are that person. You need only to awaken to this reality.
And as you do, as you step into the fullness of your divine creative power, you will watch in awe and awe as the world reshapes itself to match your new assumption. You will marvel at the synchronicities, the coincidences, the magical unfolding of events that lead you to the manifestation of your desires.
This is your birthright. This is your true nature. This is the power that has been within you all along, waiting for you to claim it. So claim it now. Step into your power. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled. And watch as miracles become your new normal.
For you are the miracle. You are the magic. You are the divine creative force that shapes worlds. And with this understanding, there is truly nothing you cannot achieve. The world is yours. Go forth and create the life of your dreams. For it is already yours in the only place that truly matters, in the realm of pure consciousness, where all creation begins.